It's a new day, it's a new life. And I'm feeling good. Fish in the sea, you know how I feel. River running free, you know how I feel. Blossom on a tree, you know how I feel. It's a new day, it's a new
Welcome, Goat Locker fans, to another race under the lights for the Veterans for Life Racing Truck Series. The season has started off with seeing 4 different winners in our first 4 races, but tonight throws a different challenge at the drivers. We've seen high-speed superspeedways, we've seen bumpy racetracks, but tonight under those lights at Bristol is our first true short track of the year. Strap in tight and let's get ready to watch round 5 of the Truck Series, and you'll see all 15 races right here on V-Speed. I'm Joey Atterbury, and joining me in the booth tonight is Alec Martinez, and we've also got Eddie Smith behind the scenes working the controls as our producer. And Alec, it's good to have you back here in the commentary booth once again. Tonight's challenge, it's going to be Bristol, the first true high-banked short track of the year.
Yeah, man, Bristol, they don't call it the fastest half mile in the world here for a reason, and this track is fast. These laps are going to go by fast, but they also got to conserve tires here. We saw, a little bit of shades in the spring race and the Real Life Cup Series where tires wearing off immediately. What line is going to be usable? What's going to save more tire? Bottom, or going to carry the momentum on the top? I think we're going to be in for a very wild and chaotic race, and it really feeds into the narrative of 5 for 5. Can we get a 5th different winner in a row? That's something that I think we look at last week with Cody McElwain winning at Milwaukee, and just having different winners every single week. I wonder if we can keep this trend going.
And speaking of those opening weeks, we started the season at Talladega at the end of August there, and then we hopped over to Nashville, saw our second winner and then on to Atlanta, the new Atlanta Motor Speedway over there. The one shakeup in that schedule graphic is that tonight we are here at Bristol, so basically Milwaukee and Bristol, they swapped places on the calendar, and then next week we will go to Dover there for round number 6. But speaking of tonight, it's going to be Bristol here, Alec, and it's a steep track, it's a short track, and the emotions, they are going to run high.
Yes, they are. And we look at our track facts, and here opened in July in the year of 1960. And then you look at Bristol, Tennessee. It's no rain to worry about, obviously, as we're on the sim, but the banking is always the story of Bristol. So much banking in the corners, 28 degrees. That top lane is going to be the lane you're going to want to be in to carry momentum, be a passing lane. But that bottom, you don't see it, but there is the resin down there to have a little more extra grip, to get a little more grip on the bottom. So will we see guys go down there to the safe tires, and then once rubber gets put up on the outside, we'll see the dynamic track come into play, see guys moving around. I think that's the thing we all want to see, but these drivers are going to have to be easy here with the set of tires that they have to save their tires and then pit for tires when they think it's necessary, because tires might be the difference between getting stuck in track position and being able to make yourself move up the field.
Now, what's happening right now is the drivers are in a qualifying session. We've got a couple minutes left there. We'll return with the grid right after we listen to our national anthem performed by Navy veteran Jared Ashley.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Always love listening to Jared perform that. And just as I say, we have clicked over to the race session, which means we have got your starting grid and, of course, the Jam Printing and Promotion Pole Award. That goes to the number 3 of Michael Kostick here under the lights at Bristol. Joining next to him on the front row will be the number 51 of Jesse Necula. In third place will be Craig Bontrager in the number 49 with Andy Kurtz in fourth. Daniel Cunningham starting in 5th with James Goshen in 6th. Jake Ellingson in 7th with Jeremy Gardner in 8th. Stephen McDonald in 9th, and Jamie Mullins is going to round out your top 10.
And in 11th, there's going to be Tyler Justice. To his outside, James Kaufman. Howie DiSalvino will roll off in 13th with Mike Browning to his outside in 14th. Last week's winner, or I should say 2 weeks ago's winner, the last race winner, Cody McElwain will roll off 15th. Chance Taylor in 16th. And Patrick Drabick, the Nashville winner, will roll off in 17th. Jamie Barkis rolls off in 18th. 19th is going to be Mike Bertosa will be rolling off in 19th at 43 truck. And the Chuck Phelps in the number 75 truck will be rolling off in 20th.
21st sees George Jewell in the number 36 machine. Matt Knight starting in 22nd. David Duke in 23rd. Jake Ham in 24th. And I believe there is a couple more back here for sure. Levi McCarty And I believe that is going to be the 25 trucks we are going to see here tonight at Bristol Motor Speedway. Something special that Goat Locker Racing does is they basically celebrate every single member of the Goat Locker Racing team. Tonight, the vet spotlight is going to be Chuck Phelps. Chuck Phelps is our resident Marine. He served a total of 21 years, 10 months, and 22 days. 13 of those years in the United States Marine Corps and 8 years in the Army National Guard. Chuck has deployed multiple times in support of Desert Storm and Desert Shield, Operation Iraqi Freedom, and Operation Enduring Freedom. Chuck's duty stations have included Camp Pendleton, Camp Lejeune, Okinawa, and Norway. We love having Chuck as a member here at GLR. Semper Fi, Marine. And also, Chuck Phelps, when we see him on camera, in my opinion, the biggest biceps in sim racing. I would not want to mess with this guy at all. Here he is on the camera. As you can see, Alec, I would not want to get tangled up with him.
Yeah, no, we're lucky we're racing on the video, or I should say on the simulator, because I think it's real life. You get him mad, man. Whew. I think you're right. I would not want to mess with that. That would not be good.
Oh, he is a great member here at GLR. He's always showing up every single week in and week out. And speaking of this week's action, you see a race analysis down here on the lower left part of the screen. 120 laps at Bristol, 35-mile-an-hour pit road. And I think the biggest thing about pit road is that if we see green flag pit stops, it's a little bit of a confusing pit road and very, very difficult. 4 tire sets available to him, 2 GWC attempts, and of course 100% fuel load and that fast Makoni fixed setup underneath the trucks. And as you can also see, drink some Mountain Dew, especially if you're Jeremy Gardner out there, who's always got it on his side. But we are green flag here at the Coliseum. Michael Kostek and Jesse Nekula lead them off into turn number 1 side by side throughout the entire field. It was 15-second laps in qualifying, and it's going to be interesting. Highline's going to lead the first lap.
Nekula from second going to lead that first time. As you can see, Kostek up the red track, trouble behind in the 85 of Goshen goes around in front of everybody. Seems like most of the field, no, they don't. David Duke and a couple others pile in. I think Chuck Phelps is one of them, the 64 of Knights. I believe the 4 truck of Browning also involved a big wreck early in this race. It looks like bottoming out there. The first caution strikes early.
You were right that it was the 85 that I don't know if he got help or if he was just loose. He was on the top side of the racetrack here. So let's watch this truck. See if he gets a little bit of help from the 27. The 27 looks like he's plenty far behind coming into turn number 2 here. And that's tough to tell. It certainly looks like if he did get into it, Ellingson maybe got into the right rear of the 85 there. Let's see on board. And Alec, if it is, it's just slight contact, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's the worst place. The truck's barely unloading with the corner. And just that little bit of a tap right there. You see, I don't think he meant to get into him. The checkup from the truck in front of him, which I believe was Kurtz, he kind of got him the brakes a little bit early. And I don't think Ellingson was expecting Goshen to do that. And then he just clipped him, and he hit him in about the worst spot you can hit anybody on the track. The truck's light into the corner, and then just on that right rear, the most sensitive part of this truck, it just gets him around. Like I said, I don't think anything intentional there, but unfortunate for a lot of the guys getting caught up on lap 2 of this race, and big hits especially for the 4 of Mike Browning. Heavy damage on that truck.
A little unfortunate to have our first yellow flag just here in the first couple laps of the event, and we'll see if I can spit out my words a little bit better throughout the rest of the night. Speaking of, the Veterans for Life Racing Team. They're a race team with the goal of fielding a truck next season in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Veteran-based and focused on helping veterans all across the racing world, they are also heavily involved with many veteran nonprofits to raise awareness and funds. Goat Locker Racing is now partnered with them, and they are the title sponsor for the Friday Truck Series. That's right, folks. It is the Veterans for Life Racing Truck Series. Season number 8 is what we're doing here with Goat Locker Racing. We're on round number 5, and if you missed the intro, we've had 4 different winners in the first 4 races, so including a couple of these gentlemen that you see down here on the screen. The opening winner, Jeremy Gardner, he is bottom center. You see Big Daddy right there. There was your winner at Talladega. Patrick Drabick, top center. He was your winner at Nashville. Howie D. Savino is not on camera, and Cody McElwain is not either, but 2 of the winners there. And then you also got David Duke, Jake Ellingson, George Jewell, and then, of course, tonight's vet spotlight, Chuck Feltz down there.
That's awesome. I love it. A lot of guys, I think you look at Gardner and Drabick, little smiles on their face. They're locked in. They don't have to worry about anything going on other than collecting points. So I think that's a good stress reliever. But, you know, we're coming up to halfway in this season. Dover going to be the halfway mark of the regular season, I should say. I got to think some of these guys wondering, you know, how close am I to that points cut line, and where can I get these extra spots, extra points to point your way into the playoffs?
It's a great talking point because we are, call it, halfway, roughly, of that regular season. And we haven't really talked about those points too much, but I think as the regular season starts to wind down, that points picture will start to narrow up as we get another green flag. Jesse Nekula with a tremendous jump on that top side, gets a huge hole shot into 1 and 2, but look at the run coming from that 48 of Andy Kurtz. He's now looking down to the inside. I don't know if Nekula got slipped up in 1 and 2, but all of a sudden that 48 straight to the point.
Well, he's got to be careful. The 51 of Nekula's not going to let him go easy. He's got the preferred line with momentum on the outside. Oh, we got trouble in the back, I think. Chance Taylor is around in front of Browning, and he's going to spin down the backstretch into the inside one. And there's another truck caught up in it. And Browning is also caught up in it, and there's another truck on. Sorry, Bertosa, the 43 truck, caught up in it, and the second caution comes out already, but no rhythm so far here. And I believe Kurtz got the lead from Nekula there on that restart.
So watch the 14 truck here. He's going to spin all by himself coming into this next corner here. It's just a little bit of a loose condition, and then the 43 doesn't have anywhere to go. I'm not sure if the 14 maybe jumped on the brakes a little bit too hard, and that's what caused the loose condition, but that's ultimately what happened. 14 loose, 43 couldn't avoid.
Yeah, I think it's another case of the checkups on the entry of the corner. We'll be on board here with Chance Taylor going into 1. And I think you got to look, the truck kind of needs to set into the corner, because then the banking will carry you off on the exits. I think here as he's riding behind here, I think he almost has to get on the brakes to not hit McElwain. And then I think right there, is that, who else was that getting caught up in there? Was that Marcus as well? Got a little piece of it. But I think there's maybe a stab at the brake to slow down the truck from not hitting the truck in front of you. And I think it puts too much on the rear, and it kind of looks like you guys are just losing it on the entries of the corner. Truck's not loaded in, and then you put even more rear brake into it, kick the rear end out. It's just tough to save there. You know, it just the field's so tight together on these restarts. It's almost like it's bound to happen.
As we try to get a little bit of a rhythm under the pace car here, want to give a big-time shout-out to Jam Printing and Promotions. Since forming in 2013, Jam has contributed printing and promotional sponsorships to more than 60 local nonprofits, with a primary focus on organizations that assist veterans, women, and children. They have been with Goat Locker Racing since the very beginning, local and veteran certified. When they do well, they do good in the community. Thank you to Jam Printing and Promotions. And of course, they give away the Jam Printing and Promotion Pole Award every single race. That was the number 3 of Michael Kostek here today. And then, of course, that 07 machine always representing that livery there. It's a beautiful livery, isn't it, Alec?
It sure is. What's the nickname you have for it?
I call it the creamsicle.
The creamsicle, there you go.
Yeah, because it's totally, a summertime creamsicle. I mean, is that not a spitting image or what?
I mean, yeah, you get the white there and the orange, man. Honestly, I'm gonna be honest with you, I haven't had a creamsicle in a hot minute, and every time you say that, you make me think to myself, like, dang, I kind of want that. But yeah, Jam pretty impressed. That's awesome. That's a good scheme. They obviously have a great livery to go with it because you can't miss it. That's the good thing about a good paint scheme. When you look at it and you know that that's Patrick Draven. When you see that scheme, you know it's him. And I think they did a great job designing it because you can always tell where he's at on the racetrack.
Also representing with that shirt, got the Jam Printing and Promotions shirt
got it all
going on right now. So Patrick Drabick knows how to represent, and he's going to try to get it done. He was our winner at round number 2 in Nashville, so I wouldn't say that the pressure is quite on the shoulders of the 07, but he is always one of the fastest out there. So pace truck off of the racetrack, and the 48 stands on the gas. That is Andy Kurtz, and once again, that high line gets the nice launch into turn number 1. Necula is actually clear of Michael Kostek in that number 3, so single file first, second, and third, and then fourth on back starts that double file racing that we see so often at Bristol.
Yeah, the top 3 kind of pulling away. Cunningham on the outside, Bontrager on the inside of that North 49 truck, but look at the gaggle of trucks behind them. Oh, there's contact. This could be big. 2 trucks slide, another one up in the outside wall, and it looks like about a 5 or 6 truck wreck here. Still trucks sliding and careening out of control. And another caution comes out. I'm trying to see who that one is. I think that's Stephen McDonald in the 68 truck was where it all started.
Yeah, I was watching it, I believe, going into turn number 1. I think between the 33 and the 68. I think that the 68 was expecting the 33 to maybe leave a little bit more room up on top of the wall there, and they just kind of tripped over each other, right? So if you're this low truck, call it in the middle groove, you're expecting the truck on your high side to go all the way out there to the wall. And when you leave, call it half a truck width between yourself and the wall, you can kind of rub doors a little bit.
Yeah, and it leaves really no margin of error for the guy on your outside here. Like I said, I think Justin's running a little bit low, but he kind of has to run lower like that because of the marbles on the exit of the corner. And I think Steven McDonald just kind of came up there, didn't give him enough room, and that's where, like you said, they rubbed doors, they hit each other, and then ends up with, obviously, surprisingly, a smaller wreck than I thought it was going to be. I know it still took 2 or 3 trucks, but look at how many trucks got by this. Great save by Browning on the inside there, but look at all the trucks behind him. That could have been a massive wreck, caught 10, 15 trucks out of it in it, and essentially a 3 or 4 truck wreck. McCarty did a great job. I don't know if he got much damage. He just kind of clipped the 33, but other than that, he did a great job of avoiding the wreck, and that was not Browning, I believe. That was Jake Hammond, the 87, that had a big miss there, so a good save as well.
So, as we just kind of regather everything under the pace truck here, it's not the pace car, and trust me, you're going to hear me say it all night. I refer to it as a safety vehicle, pace car, and then I call these things race cars all the time, but they are the trucks. So, just kind of making our way around the yellow flag here, and it looks like we've got Chuck actually joining us. And Chuck, how has the race been for you tonight? You were our vet spotlight, so I'm happy to have you joining us in the broadcast booth. What's it like from your point of view in there?
One, thank you for having me be spotlighted. Didn't know that, but thank you. In the back here, I don't know what's going on up front. By the time I get to the wrecks, it's already happened, so I don't know what's causing it. People are aggressive or getting loose or whatever, but it's just sort of trying to keep pace, but also being very cautious here in the back. Because, again, with the blind corners, you know, yellow flag comes out, and then you rely on your teammates or your spotters to tell you how to avoid it. So far, so good, but I can't really tell you how the racing is.
I know we're going back to green here, so real fast, because you are kind of battling that, are you a 2-footer iRacing, 1 gas, 1 brake, or are you 1-footing it?
Say that again. My spotter was talking to me. What was the question?
No. Are you a 1-footer in iRacing, or do you use 2 feet, 1 gas, 1 brake?
No, absolutely 2 feet. In fact, I drive that way in real life, to be honest with you.
Well, we'll let you get back to it, Chuck. Good luck out there on the racetrack.
Thank you.
All right, well, as he communicates with his spotter and gets ready to go back green. Barney's got that flag in his hand and already waving it on the front straightaway, and that hole shot from that top lane is very, very strong on these restarts. But that bottom row does get clear, so Nekula into second, Cunningham into third. Jeremy Gardner is now that red truck in the fourth place position. He's clear, and now the first side-by-side is for fifth.
And DiSalvino, if you're on the outside, you can absolutely annihilate the inside line. It seems like the front row gets going. I think if you're the leader, you're just going to want to restart in the outside lane. But I'll tell you what, though, Gardner has some speed in that 42 truck, and so does the 55. Howard DiSalvino, got to remember, has short track experience as well, a short track driver in the real life racing world. So both these trucks, the 55 and 42, working themselves up to the field.
Things are pretty tight up front here. We've got Andy Kurtz versus Jesse Nekula, because the 51 has kind of found the truck underneath him, and he's working that top side while the 48 works the bottom. Look at how the speed is made between these two different grooves, and now you see Andy kind of run the middle of the racetrack, but the higher you go into the turns, the more momentum and the more speed you can carry down the straightaway, which then can make for these lunges going into the next corner. If you go defensive, you're probably going to go on the bottom side of the racetrack. That way you can drive the car in as deep as you possibly can.
Yeah, right now nobody really wrapping their left front tire or their left side tires around on the bottom, except the pole sitter of Kostek, who has had a monumental fall down the field from the pole. Hasn't lit a lap and he's fallen back to 13, but that bottom lane, at least, maybe to save tires. I know we have a long way to go in this race still. Actually a little bit less than 100 laps, but he needs this run to go green for those tires to work, or saving the strategy to save tires to work. I just feel like right now he's losing a lot of track position. As these top two, though, they're pushing each other hard, but that 42 truck of Jeremy Gardner looks like the best truck on the racetrack right now.
We have now gotten just a little bit of fall off and into the 15-second lap bracket, and they were doing 14s, and in fact, Nekula just ripped off another 14.9 that last time by, so that's within a half second of where they qualified, and now the 51 is going to the inside of our leader, but the bottom line just gets so choked up in the corners, it might give an opportunity to Jeremy Gardner, one of our already winners there in round number one. He's sitting there in that black and red 42, and we've got a yellow flag on the racetrack. Looks like 85. It might be the 85. James Goshen he's rolling on the racetrack again, so we'll have to back it up and see exactly where this one happened.
Battling McElwain there. Looks like last week's winner here down the front stretch here, and then I think the issue will probably start halfway down the back stretch, maybe into turn 3 here. He's battling the 6th truck. That would have been for about the 50th position. A little contact there with McElwain there, and wow, oh my goodness. Jake Ham again with a miss? Oh my goodness, what was that the 4? That was amazing. I don't know how he did not hit him.
Definitely a close call as the truck was basically sliding to a stop. That was Mike Browning,
yeah,
in the number 4 car, and maybe even a little bit of target fixation going on right there, where you're looking at the truck, you know you need to avoid it, but instead of going around it, you almost go smack into it.
If he would have hit him,
yeah, thankfully Mike was able to avoid that one, and want to give another big time shout out to Veterans for Life Foundation. The goal for Veterans for Life Foundation is to both revitalize communities and supporting military veterans, their families' successful transition back into civilian life. Through support services, counseling, and education, they provide permanent, affordable housing to veterans and their families. Just a huge thank you for the Veterans for Life Foundation and everything that they do for our country's first responders, veterans, military, and the sort. Big time part of Goat Locker Racing here, and I know that we've had a lot of yellows, Alex, so far in this race. We will see a little bit more of a green flag stretch eventually. These drivers can't just keep fixing their trucks forever. Got to remember, there is no fast repairs.
Well, yeah, I think that's something to look out for. You, at least with this track, the speeds are high, but a lot of damage can affect you, but even a little bit. You've seen cars with no back bumpers win here, so I think that's one thing, but I will say the most interesting point of this race now that has just happened is pit stops occurred during that the caution cycle, and right now from Daniel Cunningham, 8th on back, brought it in to take their first of 2 sets of tires laying in the pits. We've ran about, I don't know, 20 green flag laps here. This will be very interesting to see for later in this race if fresh tires really make a difference. How much can they make it up through there? And sorry, they have 3 sets of tires in the pits, so kind of surprised that maybe the top 6 didn't bring it in, but I definitely like what Cunningham and the rest of the field are doing pitting here and try to get a little bit of an advantage.
Now, I'm gonna play devil's advocate. I'm gonna disagree with you here, Alec, just for the sake of conversation, because I feel that we really haven't ran very many green flag laps, right? I mean, call it a handful under the belt here. So I know that we're working lap number 36 on the counter per se, but when we actually look at the tire life and what's good on those tires, I mean, we've used maybe 5% of its life.
Yeah.
So I say everybody who stayed out, they're not going to have a problem because there's enough of them that stayed out. What is it, about 6 or 8 of them that stayed out? So
6, yeah.
Yeah, those new tires, they're not just going to be able to call it launch off of the same diving board. They're going to have to get through all of those old tires and then start to show their stuff. But it's up to those racers to prove one of us right. Is it going to be the new tires that is starting with Daniel Cunningham in the number 91 back there in 7th place? Or is it going to be the old tires with the top 7 trucks? Andy Kurtz gets that nice pull shot into turn number 1. And I see Patrick Drabick fighting alongside the number 25. He was one of the trucks that did not come down pit lane. And Jesse Nekula in that 51 actually checked him up. You're right, huge wreck behind.
Oh, that's big. That's everybody in the back getting caught up, and that's 5, 6, 7 trucks involved. Last week's winner involved. That's McElwain, and I see the 4 Browning involved, and more trucks are in that wreck. Wow, a big wreck there. I think it started with Howard DiSalvino in the 55.
Let's take a look here. Highlighting the number 85. The truck you mentioned is right behind.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Gardner got a piece of it. McCarty, another great job distancing it. Oh! Getting Sent in there. Marcus, Knights, Browning in it. McElwain. Mullins I got sent in there hard.
And that's going to be heavy damage on this truck right here, Howie DiSavino. If that name does sound familiar, yeah, real-world racing driver who's already won a race here this season. So maybe was a little bit aggressive right here, the 85. Maybe the 85 not 100% up to pace in terms of how fast the 55 wanted to enter the corner. But even then, you know, you can't just go bowling over a truck directly in front of you. Either way, Alec, they definitely kind of tripped over each other, and a huge wreck ensued.
Yeah, and Bristol kind of invites those big wrecks with how tight the corners are. Like I said, Jimmy Mullins and Howard DiSalvino, they're going to have heavy damage, probably suspension damage. I know Mullins missing the left front, or excuse me, right front fender, and right here, he just kind of got shipped into the wreck and then right into the door of the 55, and almost into the left front suspension directly into him. So that's you know, heavy damage on both. You can see no right front fender. It seems to be gone on the 66, and heavy front end damage. So that truck is definitely not going to be in pristine condition anymore tonight. Probably going to really affect the speed and handling of that 66 truck.
While the aerodynamics don't play a huge role at Bristol, the suspension components do. I know it's a short track, and we've seen cars that are beaten and banged up win at Bristol, especially in the real world. But in the simulator here, if you bend those steering components or suspension components like you heard Alec was kind of referencing, the cornering loads are just so heavy at Bristol, you cannot keep pace here. So if the body is banged up, okay. If anything else is banged up underneath, it is just going to result in loss of speed and a very frustrated driver, which is then probably, honestly, going to make the situation worse most often.
Ain't that the truth, yeah. Well, like I said, Bristol, like you said, the high loads, we've seen it in all cars. Usually if you have you don't normally see a lot of power steering issues in current day stock car racing, but if you do, Bristol's one of those tracks, maybe road course for sure, but Bristol for sure one of those tracks that you'll see high load in the corners. Tracks is where you'll see a lot of power steering issues. If you get any bit of suspension damage, it just makes the day worse. It makes the day more of a headache, more than anything, especially for the crew chief on the car who has to hear the driver complain about no power steering or steering damage. And with that caution coming, I will say the top 6 stayed the top 6 with the older tires here. So maybe the track position going to work in their favor, but is there a certain point where these drivers are going to have to bring it down pit road and all these guys that pitted will jump them?
We're about to go green flag. You bring up an interesting point, loss of power steering. I don't think that these veterans, these military guys would have a problem, but I think some of the sim racers, if we had some power steering loss, might have some issues with their sim rig as Andy Kurtz gets going once again here. Nebula sitting there in second place. Then you see that wonderful side-by-side battle between that Jam Printing and Promotions number 07 of Patrick Drabick and James Kaufman, just doing a terrific job in that, call it highlighter orange and yellow 25, working the high side, passing Patrick Drabick with speed. Oh, almost into the back of the 51.
A little bump and run style of Bristol now. Drabick to the bottom of Kaufman. Ham and Ellingson kind of just waiting behind them to see who gets through the momentum. Ham, big run on the outside of that 87 truck. The green numbers there. And look at that 87 carrying momentum on the outside. Drabick going to just get kind of freight train on the outside right now.
I think that Drabick is a very smart racing driver. Remember, we've mentioned he is one of our winners already in the previous 4 races. I wonder if he's just saving a little bit of tire there on the low side of the racetrack, knowing the high side of the racetrack is one that can carry more speed right now. So you see once that opening kind of was there, the 07 took that gap in line. And now we see right in front of him, Jake Ellingson trying to make a pass on the 87.
Look at Gardner down to the inside. He's now the first car with fresh tires. How about Levi McCarty as well, poking up into the picture in that 24 black and gold truck. He's starting to move up through the field, but so that 42 truck might be the best truck here tonight as laps get put on. That 42 is digging on the bottom, and now it's going to get caught up here because Kaufman's going to try to get in front of him, and that stacks up the top.
The 25 is about 3 lanes wide right now, and now he leaves a lane up on top for the number 87. Let's see about coming out of this corner right here. It's nice right down there in the middle of the racetrack. But what that does, it's a giant roadblock for that 42 now, which was the fastest truck. Gardner's going to have to force it 3 wide if he wants to keep the momentum up, because he sees all these trucks that he just passed. Ham, Ellingson, Drabick, and now Bontrager, they're all going around him while he's stuck behind Kaufman.
And he can't afford to get into him. He might spin around. How about Bontrager on the outside, going to the outside of 42 and 25. Gardner's going to get fed up here pretty soon. He needs to find a way to get by. He's losing track position, losing spots as the leader. Andy Kurtz is gone, and it seems like Nebula is kind of holding up all these guys behind him. He's running the middle, but it seems like Ham, Ellingson, Drabick, Bontrager, they can't get by him. Oh, big moment from Kaufman, and Gardner finally going to get to the inside.
He forces it 3 wide. Yeah, the 25 thankfully lifts out of the gas there. He was kind of in the sucker hole right in the middle of the racetrack. So the 42 finally gets by Kaufman, but instead of for what was 3rd place, it is now 9th place, and he sees just truck after truck after truck in front of him, stacked up right in front of him. That was Drabick that had a moment, and the 42 got into the back of the 07.
And he got the wall pretty good, and I think the 42 might have a little bit of right front damage, as well as the 24, who might have left rear or right rear damage from there. And Kostick almost got caught up in it, but they all keep it clean and green. But maybe some damage for sure to that 42 as Bontrager starting to make a move to the inside of Ellingson.
See Ellingson here in this red and white number 27 on top of the racetrack. Craig Bontrager is that orange and black number 49 working the low side, and it's just the ebb and flow here at the Coliseum. Typically, we see the high side of the racetrack kind of prevail as long as the momentum can be kept up and you can put the power down on corner exit. But the caveat here, that black and gold 24, Levi McCarty, he's faster than everybody because he's on those fresh tires that you were mentioning before we went green last time.
Yeah, and that 49 is also on the fresher tires. Maybe that's why he's able to kind of make the bottom work more than everybody else. Although Nebula has been kind of more painted to the bottom towards everybody else's. interesting point in this race too is lap traffic maybe going to become a point if we get enough green flag laps where maybe the pace of Andy Curtis will get to the back half of this field. The question is though, as these guys running on the bottom, getting held down there, is it saving their tires? Is it hurting their tires? It's going to get tight here. Ham, can Bontrager pin Ham behind the 4? Browning, he won't, and Ham gives up the spot, and Bontrager up to 3rd. Now since his sight on the 51 of Nebula.
Won't be too long before he's able to challenge Jesse up here for what his second place is. A little bit of a 3-wide moment there with, I think that's Ellingson, Kostek, and the 4 of Browning just kind of trying to let this lead pack on by without causing any ruckus back there. He's actually doing a tremendous job, as I say so. We have crossed the halfway point here, working lap number 63 right now. Click it over to 64 of 120. Still about 15.5 second lap times. We qualified at about 14.5. Our leader that last time by of 15.5. But the fall off is only, call it about 3/4 of a second because remember, these trucks have full fuel when you go out there. Can lighten it up a little bit for qualifying, I believe. So right now running a pretty blistering pace, but that 49, he's about, call it 1/4 of a second faster per lap.
Yeah, I think this is the part of the run now. They've gotten enough laps. The fresh tires are going to start kicking in here. And I think this is going to go bode well here for Bontrager. And he's going to get there. Can Andy Kurtz hold him off with 34 older tires? Although we say that, we got trouble in turn 3. I believe it's Phelps, and I believe the 07 of Drabic is in it as well. Barkus is in it. The 14 of Taylor is in it. Oh, they're stacking up behind. The leaders are coming up on the accident scene.
Well, the yellow flag has been out for a while now, so I assume that they should have slowed down by the time they got there. Let's take a look at what exactly happened here. So we got Drabic following the 4. The 14 here that's down low, going to be a little bit of a funnel of 3 wide. Oh, I wonder, Alec, did you see, did the 14 and the 07 make contact? Do you see the heavy impact, the secondary impact? Yeah, there it was.
Trying to get behind him, clipped him, and then Taylor trying to save it, comes back on the track. Look at that, on top of
That was a sick DJ move, though. Did you see that spin in the turntables on top of the 85?
That was a breakdancing move. Did it like right on top of his head and then back off of him there. That was something. And a hard
oh my goodness.
Chance Taylor, it goes right on top of, gosh, and like he said, like a breakdancing DJ move there. Back on all 4s, but heavy damage, and now half the field going to come in. Kurtz into pit road, and he'll take his first set. Jacan going to come in, and I believe Frank Bontrager is going to stay out. Mike Tosa put Kurtz in 3rd. On board with Chance Taylor. Trying to gather it up. Oh my goodness. Thank goodness these are virtual race trucks.
I'm going to age myself a little bit for all of the GLR members. Maybe they'll get a chuckle out of that. That was very much like a scene out of Electric, what is it? Electric Boogaloo. Remember that one? I know Eddie's giggling behind the scenes right now. Breaking to Electric Boogaloo.
Banger song. I'll be honest, I listened to that. That was kind of music back in the day, man. That's a good song. Keep going.
Oh, a big time thank you to Cruisin' Classics. Located in Columbus, Ohio, Cruisin' Classics has a beautiful 56,000 square foot showroom filled with hundreds of unique automobiles. There is something for everybody out of their hand-picked selection of muscle cars and hot rods. Come on down and visit the facility today and check out their website also at cruisinclassicsinc.com. So we are past halfway out here, working, call it 71 laps currently. Click it over to 72 under the pace car. We've seen a few different leaders out front, but it primarily has been the number 48 of Andy Kurtz. He has kind of led the majority of the race. We had a split strategy early on, but Andy did not come down pit road. He came down pit road under this most recent yellow flag. Our leader, Craig Bontrager, in that 49, did not pit. He only has 37 laps on his tires, but Alec, I think that he has seen a whole bunch of hungry wolves in his mirror because literally the entire field has brand new stuff behind him.
Yeah, I don't know why he didn't pay. I understand why maybe to save a set, but I think you're at the point where this might be the last set of tires, and then I think another mistake is picking the bottom. I giving the guy with fresh tires on the top, the guy you're racing, giving him the advantage here. I don't know. Bontrager's gonna have to go. If Kurt's times it even halfway decent, I don't see Bontrager holding onto the lead here much, if not at all here. Up to Kostek and Nekula to get around him. I think Kostek's gonna be in a good spot here to maybe follow Kurtz around 49.
Well, let's see, Nekula does get on the gas, and it looks like he will be clear of the 48, at least going into one. But look at those fresh tires. There goes Andy Kurtz just straight around the top. And now it's a stack up. It's going to be stacked up behind the 49, which is the 42. And we've already got one spinning around there in 3 and 4. He's on the apron. We're still green flag racing.
A great save out of Stephen McDonald there. Good save there. And he's going to keep it clean and green here as now Kurtz gets the lead from Nekula and Kostek. Bontrager on old tires trying to fend off the pack of Hungry Wolves. Can't do it. Ellingson gets by. And now I think it's going to be a steady downfall for the 49 here through the field.
49, the floodgates have opened for Craig Bontrager, and it is going to be tough to stop them. He's got to get up to the top side of the racetrack and force everybody to go underneath, but really he's choosing the low side, letting kind of everybody with the good stuff take the fast lane. So I think they are just going to leave the 49 in the dust. Andy Kurtz is trying to stretch it out, and as I say that, the 51 had a huge moment and now almost got into the left rear of Levi McCarty, but Jesse Nekula was able to save it.
Big save, big slide. That's not going to help that right rear tire. It's a 51 for this run if we get one. And we'll go look at the replay here. On the bottom of Kostek, it's really loose, and whew, what a save from that. It almost got hit by Ellingson. Ellingson doing a good job not getting in the back of him. And your top three now, Kurtz, Kostek, Ellingson, and Kostek all over the back bumper of Kurtz here.
We haven't talked a whole lot about that number 3 here in season number 8. Last season, Michael Kostek was one of the fastest trucks week in, week out. You could count on him to be at the front and probably to lead the most amount of laps every single race. We haven't seen him kind of trend towards the top 5 here much this season. It seems like Bristol is his coming out race. Remember, he was on pole here. He started the race from the lead position, kind of fell back a little bit earlier on. And if you ask me, I think he was saving tires and he knew this was going to be a little bit of a messy race. But now, call it in the meat and potatoes where you really got to get the stuff done, Kostek has worked his way to the front.
Be honest here, he's running out of time. I know look at that though. Look at the front of these guys though. We're gonna have lap traffic here soon as well. That might be costing us time to pounce. But I think he's realized, like you said, you don't need to save as much tire. Heck, we only got what 40 laps to go. He's gonna kind of put pressure on the 48 of Kurtz to maybe force him to push his tires harder, try to make the 48 make a mistake, and maybe for Jacob Ellingson in the 27, sit behind these two and let these guys race it out.
I think that the 27, probably if he sees them side by side, need to get up there and try to see if you can follow this truck with the fresh tires, the freshest stuff on through. Now it's tough because everybody's on equal tires, so what do you say? Hey, which one's going to be faster? That's up to your racecraft in deciding, is it going to be the top lane? Is it going to be the low lane? Is it going to be the traffic? And having to avoid and predict where they're going to go each one of these laps. You see the concentration there from Jake Ellingson. And I think that 27, looking at this season so far, really needs a good points day.
He sure does. And right now, he can, why not win it? Why not forget about the points? Get yourself locked in and get that win. And I think right now, what I'm seeing ahead of him, this lap traffic, if we keep going green, this is going to play a massive role in whoever navigates it probably the best. Will probably have a, be in victory lane here at the end of it, as long as they don't get wrecked. We've seen lap traffic catch up the leaders just not too long ago, a week or 2 weeks ago in Bristol in the Xfinity race. Justin Allgaier leading the race, dominant car, gets taken out by a lap car. Can you navigate it without getting in an incident?
I think we've seen the 48 really do a good job to fend off the attack from... Oh, there's a spin right in front of him. That was, I believe, the 43 car. But he's all the way down off on the apron. That's Mike Bertosa. And he's just going to patiently wait down there. We're still green flag racing right now, so I'm not surprised. I think that if he gets up on the racing line, we'll get a yellow flag, and we'll probably get it because he's trying to spin it around.
Bontrager's hoping he brings it up for a caution and see if we get it turned around here. He gets it going, and there it is. Caution comes out, and that will now play another interesting role in what happens in this race.
It was the right thing to do. It was just iRacing was waiting for this car to come back on the racetrack. I think the only other thing that could have kept a green flag racing is if the 43 hit the tow button and went back down to pit road, which would have, a little bit of a time penalty. But, so sitting here on the apron, letting everybody do laps around you.
That's going to be a caution. Now it'll be interesting to see, what do these drivers do? Do they pit? Do they stay out here? We know Craig Bontrager's bringing it in down pit road. Now Andy Kurt's going to put his final set of tires on with less than 30 to go.
Everybody is coming down pit road. I'm not surprised, or at least the top handful are coming down pit road. Definitely get those freshest tires you can for the sprint to the end, and I don't expect anybody to visit their pit stall from here on out unless they have damage on their vehicle. Also, want to say hi to Hidden Wit Brewing Company. They were born from the desire to help you find a little escape from the world outside of doors. Our focus from the beginning has always been to craft drinkable beers that you love to enjoy. They are majority veteran-owned and the title sponsor of the Tuesday Xfinity Series. So, Alec, we've got split strategies. I see, what is it, about 3 trucks stayed out on the racetrack on old tires. And
sure. Hoffman
pretty much, yeah, and then pretty much the rest of them came in, got brand new feel-goods.
Yes, sir. This is going to be interesting to see how this shakes out. Got George Jewell in his first laps of the night. James Goshen, who's kind of had a up and down night. He's going to be rolling off in the front row here. This is going to be very interesting. How can the 48 and the 3 navigate through these two? And really, where does the 36 pick? He picks bottom. I think the 48 has an advantage. He picks top, though. You put the 3 at the advantage.
I feel, I mean, if you're asking me how I'm going to win this race, watch the 48.
Yeah.
I mean, Andy Kurtz has been the fastest truck. I don't see why it's going to change. The only challenger that I've seen has been Michael Kostek in that number 3. But even then, the 48 was able to fend off that challenge. I would say that Kostek kind of cranked it to 11 on the aggressiveness, trying to get by the 48 that last green flag run. And guess what? He couldn't do it at that point. So I think that Andy Kurtz knows Bristol. He knows the truck. He understands the equipment. He understands what's going on. And you're going to have to beat the 48 if you want to win tonight.
Yeah, I will say, though, I think the 48 is really good. But I think the 3, like you said, turn it up. I think even the 27 and the 42, if you were to give either one of them track position, I think you'd have to give, you put any of those guys up in the lead, I think any of them can win here. This is going to be interesting, though. I just have a feeling the 86, or excuse me, the 85 and the 36, they're going to spin tires here. Whoever can get by these two the quickest is probably going to be the winner of this race. Cannot afford to get yourself wrecked here. That's the big key here.
What y'all don't see behind the scenes is our producer, Eddie Smith, putting in the chat, this restart is going to be crucial for the winner, and he is 1,000,000% right. Watch this 48, second in line on the low side. I expect him to get rolling behind the 36. There he goes. The 36 gets the whole shot, but crucially, there goes Andy Kurtz with a clean racetrack. He's already clear of George Jewell by turn number 2, and now he sets sail with a clean windshield. His only challenger, Ellingson, in the 27 giving chase.
Yeah, Costa kind of stuck behind the 85, finally got to the inside, but the 36, they're stacking up behind him. McElwain, Bontrager making contact with the 87 of Ham. These guys all making contact back here. Beating and banging, Bontrager sideways. Caution's going to probably come out, and it does.
A yellow flag, a jumpy yellow flag by Barney out there. He was seeing that 49 put up some tire smoke. He kept his foot in it, trying to save it, which he did. Fantastic. Call it half spin from Craig Bontrager and save, but because he was sideways in the middle of the racetrack, which we're going to see, we get another yellow flag.
Just got a little bit too loose there, and right there, I mean, the bumps, truck's not loading into the corner, gets sideways from you on cold tires, and good save though, really good save. Didn't lose too many spots. Caution came out there and kind of saved him there, so that's gonna help here. He's gonna have to get some of those spots back.
Want to say hi to another big partner at Goat Locker Racing, Invets. Invets aids in transitioning to civilian life, focusing on job placement and finding the right community for veterans and their families to ensure their success and happiness. They're a veteran nonprofit in Indiana with the goal of bringing veterans to that state to live and work. They are the title sponsor of the Sunday Truck Series. So, what do you think here, Alec? We're going to be going green, call it, 17, 18 laps to go. I don't think we've seen the last of the yellow flags, have you?
I don't think we have either. It'll be close. I just think right now Andy Kurtz is the guy to beat. He's got the clean air. He's got the track position he needs. If you keep restarting, I got to say this, though. If you wanted to win this race tonight, you got to restart in the outside lane and just get such a jump through the zone. Through 1 and 2, carry so much momentum off of turn 2 that you're just going to need to have it. It's up to Ellingson to get a good enough jump on that bottom to at least stay even with them and maybe try a slide job. But like I said, I don't think I think these restarts are crucial for track position. If anybody can get to that 48, though, but I think right now, though, he said, I don't know if this is going to be the last caution.
Well, our pace truck probably rivals Andy Kurt's lap lead count here tonight, but that's okay. Bristol, known to be a little bit emotional for sure, as you see 8 different yellow flags we've seen in the 102 laps so far, but that's typical short track. It is the last great Coliseum. I forget, Alec, do you know off the top of your head how many fans can fit in the grandstands here? I know it changes, and they've changed it a little bit, but I know it used to be over 100K.
Okay, as somebody who tries to pride themselves on knowing a little bit of NASCAR stats, I want to say it's 160,000. I'm not sure of that, but I want to say it's like around 160,000 that can fit in this last great Coliseum. So, that's why I'm going to go with 160K. I don't know if they filled it out in a while. I know there was over 100K this year at the Bristol Night Race a couple weeks ago. So, I'm going to go with
146,000 as of 2021. So, that's pretty good numbers. Compare that to my Seattle Mariners that barely get 30K per ball game out here.
Should be the Oakland Athletics, right?
Anyways, my ADD brain, let's get focused back on sim racing. The lights are out on the truck, and it is up to the 48 versus the 27. Is Andy Kurtz going to be able to stand on the gas like we've seen all night? Yes, he does get the launch, and he brings the 51 of Jesse Nekula up alongside of Jake Ellingson, but that 27 drove it deep into 1 and 2. He clears them for second place.
Stuck out a little loose there on the exit. Here comes Nekula with the run, going to cross over to the bottom, contact, and here comes Gardner in the 42. Oh no! In front of Gardner goes Ellingson, and a big wreck off of turn 2. Ham involved. The 25 is in it. Oh my goodness.
Usually when we talk about the big one, it is at a super speedway, and the nightmare season continues for Jake Ellingson. You see the frustration right there. He had a great run going at Bristol, and folks, if you think sim racing isn't real, you just saw how real it is out of Jake Ellingson. All of this work to go into tonight just kind of tossed into the wall, and you saw the emotion from it.
And Ellingson not happy. I don't know. It looks like he might have just lost the rear end here going into turn 1, and I can't blame him for being upset, man. He had such a good race going, and like I said, it shows what it means to get good finishes here, be up in the points, and he did a great job keeping second there on the restart here, and I think just into 1, you see he's already loose, and into the corner, he's already carrying the looseness in, and it just goes around, snaps around from him. There's nothing he can do, and Gardner gets caught up in it. The 14 Taylor Kaufman's in it. Ham gets a piece of it. I think it's Tyler Justice in it. Matt Knight's even got the big wreck there. And through all that, the biggest gainer, how about the guy in fourth? McElwain, up into sixth. McElwain in the sixth, last week's winner, up to six. Ham up is up to four. Even Gardner, who got wrecked in that, is up to third.
We catch all these shots in this replay. Let's see who else was able to either sneak through or be involved.
Oh man, gosh, McCarty did a good job missing it. Bontrager.
You see the 85 and the 42 actually in front of it, because you were right. The 42 kind of got a piece of the wall, plus a piece of the 27 as he snuck by. But then afterwards, the 85 and the 42 got into it as well. Let's see here. 85 gets underneath. Oh, the 42 actually spun, and then Alec, that was pretty significant contact between the two.
It looked a lot like Mullins and DiSalvino early in this race. I'd be really worried about the 42 coming. Suspension damage. He hit him right in the left front. As for the 85, I'm surprised the radiator's not busted in there. He hit him pretty square. He was on board with Gardner. Alex, you get to see him come around. Really nothing Gardner could do to get out of the way quick enough, and then get spun around. And honestly, it was probably a saving grace to get hit by the 85. Didn't lose too much. I think he was all the way around. The 85 doesn't hit him, but I'm more worried about that left front. Look at how much the left front tire is sticking out compared to the fender. Although that could be a good thing, maybe no suspension bent, but cosmetic damage more than.
It might be time to get around at Nasty's Restaurant and Bar and watch the final handful of laps here. And speaking of, in March 2012, Nasty's opened its doors out there in Hilliard, Ohio, and from the get-go, they aimed to embody the energy and passion their sons, Nathan and John, poured into the dreams of their restaurant. Nathan's commitment to hospitality ensured every guest received exceptional food and service. They're the co-sponsors of Wednesday's Next Gen series. They have hosted numerous fundraisers in their establishment with the goal of raising funds to donate a sim rig to a deserving veteran or first responder. That's really what Goat Locker Racing is all about. Not only helping your buddies here on the virtual racetrack, but being a part of it in the real world as well. Helping out everybody that you are involved with, that you've crossed paths with along the way. That's exactly what Goat Locker Racing is. And we've got the truck off of the racetrack. The 51 versus the 48, and the 48 gets another huge jump on the front straightaway. What happens between the 51, the 42, and the 87? Remember that Jeremy Gardner machine has damage, and now Necula spins up into Gardner, and more chaos ensues behind.
Oh, there they go. More trucks. Jewel Knights. I don't think Gardner heavy damage. Look at on Gardner. His wheel is upside down. That suspension is killed, and more trucks in the top 5, top 3 area, and especially Necula, who started on the front row, and Gardner, who had such a good truck, destroyed with only 10 laps to go.
I'm going to wait for the replay here.
Man, that was...
this one's tough. You know, I took a look at it from up above. When you're in Jesse Necula's position, it's tough because you want to play both lanes, right? You seeing that? And it can also be the cold tires on the restart. Remember, these aren't brand new tires, so it could also be the 51 kind of getting loose about a turn number 2 that kind of causes the shift between both lanes, but tries to occupy both of them, and it just doesn't work.
Yeah, if I had to say, I think from what I can see and I understand, he's trying to cover the outside. I think he knew Ham was going to get a big run on the outside and trying to keep that second place position, and I unfortunately, I think he made the move just a little too late. Ham had such a big run and kind of already had a fender there. I don't think Necula was going to clear him or clear up in front of him in time and I think that's what happened. And unfortunately, Jeremy Gardner's just an innocent bystander, really. But I think there for Necula, he just got clear. I think he just cleared himself a little too late. He was clear before he did that move. He waited just a little too long to do it, and the 87 was there. Right here, 87's there, and he just comes up, and he goes around, and Gardner made the move to miss it. He just couldn't miss it in time, and big hit there.
I think what is interesting here, as we wind down these replays, it's tough. I wonder if he just got loose coming up out of turn number 2 on the old tires on the restart. Either way, you can't fault the 51 at all, other than if he physically tried to block both lanes. Okay, then you can point the finger at him. But I do think that he was a little bit loose coming up out of turn number 2. Anyways, to set the scene, we've got about 4 laps remaining, or I should say, once we get going green, we should have about 4 laps remaining. Andy Kurtz has really done a great job with these restarts. The 87 of Jake Ham, he's been able to work his way up through the field. He's one of our biggest movers of the night, up 22 positions, started back there in 24th. And the other one, Alec, you mentioned him before the previous restart, is Cody McElwain, last week's winner.
Been quiet all night and putting together a pretty good performance. I mean, we haven't really talked about him much. He's kind of, I think he even got involved in one of the cautions, but really he's been quiet all night and kind of avoided all the chaos, and it's got him up to 3rd. So it's looking really good so far for McElwain. Oh, this restart's going to be tough. You got to hold off Levi McCarty as well, who's been up and down here tonight. And Jake Ham, Jake Ham, I'll give him credit, man. He's been up all night, weathered the storm most of this race, and kind of been a presence inside the top 10, and now he finds himself with the shot to win. Going to be a restart, like you said, with 3 to go. 4 to go.
Also, check in real fast as we get ready to go with our vet spotlight, Chuck Feltz. He's still kind of hanging out right there. He's the first truck 1 lap down, currently in 16th as our pace vehicle comes off of the racetrack. And the 48, before he even gets to the straightaway, stands on the gas. He is ditched out of there. Levi McCarty is battling with Jake Ham, so the 24 versus the 87. McElwain is trying to figure out which lane is going to be faster. Is it going to be the high lane? Is it going to be the low lane? Now he's going to force it 3 wide. Now 2 wide. McElwain down to the bottom of the racetrack.
Can McCarty have an answer for the 48 of Kurtz? Kurtz pulls about a 3-car truck length lead into turns 3 and 4. McElwain loose. 2 laps to go from the last Great Coliseum.
Can we get to the white flag before we see another caution? The 48 of Andy Kurtz has dominated tonight's race, but Levi McCarty is proving to be a challenger. 1 lap remaining, half a mile. Can the 48 hang on to it? It seems like the more green flag runs, the stronger he gets, and all he's got is 2 turns left. Andy Kurtz looks up to Barney. He sees the checkered flag. Winner, 5th different winner, the number 48 of Andy Kurtz.
What a win. What a dominant performance here from Bristol. And what a race. What a top 3. How about that? Well,
Five different winners in 5 races, folks. We've seen Jeremy Gardner, Patrick Drabick, Howie DeSavino, Cody McElwain, and now the number 48 punches his ticket to the playoffs with a race win.
What a dominant win. 104 of the 120 laps. That 48 truck lights out all night now. Gonna burn it down on the front stretch here at the last Great Coliseum. What a race. And it's in 5 different winners in 5 different races, man. It doesn't get any more better and competitive than that.
Let's see if he can burn it down. Let's crank up the audio and listen to that big old rumbly boy. You gotta love some celebratory donuts, burnouts. It always sounds good. We're gonna bring up your official results on screen with that number 48 on top of it all. Andy Kurtz taking home the checkered flag. Levi McCarty with a fantastic drive, our biggest mover. He started all the way back there in 26th position, gained 24 to finish in 2nd place. Jake Ham in 3rd place. Cody McElwain, last week's winner, in 4th. Michael Kostek, who started up front, will collect a top 5 finish. James Goshen with an excellent run himself in the 85 to finish in 6th. Stephen McDonald in 7th. Craig Bontrager in 8th. James Kaufman in 9th. And Tyler Justice, who we didn't speak of much, finishes with the top 10.
How about Matt Knights, 11th. George Jewell led a couple laps, comes home in 12th. And Daniel Cunningham, 13th. Jesse Necula caught up in that last caution, comes home 14th. Jimmy Barkis, 15th and 15th. Truck about that, our veteran spotlight of the race. It looks like Chuck Phelps brings home 16th. Mike Browning in 17th. Jeremy Gardner, 18th. Jake Ellingson going to come home in 19th. And Mike Bertosa is going to come home in 20th.
across the page is, I believe, one more. Jamie Mullins finished a bunch of laps down, but I see did have a checkered flag, so he finished the race. Unfortunately, Patrick Drabick, Chance Taylor, Dave Duke, Howie DeSavino, they did not finish today's race. A DNF for them on the time sheet. But I think we do have a race winner. It's going to be joining us here in the broadcast booth. We've got Andy Kurtz with us, winner number 5 in race number 5. How does it feel, sir?
Hey, what's going on? It's good. It's my first race this season with the guys on Friday night, so really happy to be here running with these guys. And yeah, little surprise, but cycle fell with cautions and stuff like that. So yeah, it was a lot of fun.
I really felt that you were the driver, the truck to beat all night. Was it maybe just the clean air and those kind of launches off of the restarts, or what made it look so easy for you?
Yeah, I think so. I think the setup was really good. I mean, you could really push it. It like didn't get tight at all when when the run would go on, but you could still push it pretty hard and not burn up the right front like I normally do here. So setup was awesome, but yeah, I think just clean air, being able to just only goes, push as much as I need it to, and then kind of defend. I was driving a lot of the race just in my mirror. So just keeping control of the race was key. So that's really all it took.
You had mentioned it was the first time that you had come out to the Friday Truck Series here. Are we going to be expecting you in the future?
I certainly hope so. I'm doing part-time just because Friday nights are a little tough for me, but I'm having a blast doing, Tuesday and Thursday night with the GLR guys. So yeah, I'll do them, as much as I can, but hope to make a couple more. But definitely won't be every week, unfortunately. But yeah, I'll do them when I can.
Well, Andy, thank you for coming out and racing with us. Congratulations on the win here at Bristol. Is there anybody you want to thank?
Yeah, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Yeah, I want to thank everyone at Goat Locker for putting this on for us. Really appreciate it. Awesome series. A couple series throughout the week. I want to thank all of our sponsors: Lincoln Tech, Hit It Went Brewery, Cruising Classics, Nasty's Restaurant and Bar, Veterans for Life Foundation, Veterans for Life Racing, Invents, Jam Printing and Promotions, McConey Setup Shop, V Speed, Nazar 360, Indiana Department of Veteran Affairs, Alexander PC, Sim Motion, Next Level Racing, iRacing, and Above the Yellow Line for everyone here helping us with this on.
That was Andy Kurtz with a Walgreens receipt of a sponsor list there at the end. I was pretty impressed he was able to rattle that all off. It looks like Alex got up with second place.
Yes, sir. Levi McCarty, you got a copy, buddy?
Yes, sir.
Well, man, you come home with the second place finish here tonight and had a great restart there at the end with 3 laps to go. Got up to second. And what more did you maybe need to get to that 48 of Andy Kurtz?
Yeah, I feel like I didn't have enough laps behind him to kind of figure out his weaknesses and kind of where I could jump on him. But yeah, most of my work was done on the restarts and driving it hard on the high line, getting around people, and I mean we started out back and came up through a bunch of times making passes on the high side.
For sure, it was an up and down day, and we come on the concrete here tonight. Next week, back on the concrete again. Out in Dover. How do you feel about going out to Dover and maybe trying to repeat another top 3, if not be our 6th different winner of the season?
Love it. The concrete tracks as of late for me have been really good. I kind of struggled with them when I first started iRacing, but I found something with them and it's been consistent, and I'm really excited to get to Dover.
For sure, man. Well, we appreciate your time, buddy. Is there anybody you want to give a shout out to here tonight?
Yeah, I got to shout out Fairfield Auto Group, Fairfield Motorsports. Those guys hooked me up with a sweet paint for this league, and I'm really pleased with it, and I thank them as always. Yeah, I got to go down to here, Lincoln Tech, Hidden Wit Brewing, Cruising Classics, Nasty's Restaurant and Bar. I know they do a lot of great things for the league. Ran a couple charity races for them. Always a blast. Veterans for Life Foundation, Veterans for Life Racing, Jam Printing and Promotions, Invets, McConey Setup Shop. The setup that they gave us tonight was really fun, really stable. It was really fast as well. So thank you to those guys for for what they do and set up shop. V Speed, thank you guys. Top notch broadcast. Really fun to go back and relive and watch. So I appreciate that. And yeah, that's about it. Thank you.
All right. Well, we appreciate your time, Levy. Again, have a wonderful evening. Congrats on the second place finish, and hopefully we'll be talking to you next week out at Dover.
Appreciate it, guys.
I think we have one more interview lined up here, and that is our third place finisher, Jake Ham. Congratulations on the podium finish, Jake.
Thank you, sir. It's nice to finally get back on the podium.
And what a way to do it, man. Up 21 positions here to finish in third. Give us kind of the point of view from inside your sim rig, what that was like.
A lot of patience. I was really nervous starting from the back. I messed up both my qualifying laps and just took it easy at the beginning. And then as everybody kind of leveled out, settled in a little bit, just really put the hammer down and really found that top groove to be the way to run the setup tonight. And it ended up working out pretty well.
So talking about the different grooves, we definitely saw that top lane be fastest, but the alternate tire strategies, the mixed tire strategies kind of seemed to put some roadblocks out there, didn't it?
Yeah. Yep. So you're always going to have some markers that come up depending, when you pit, when you decide to, come in or not. And you probably saw it. I got tied up last week, messed up in the pits. This week I took the wrong pit entry, so it put me at the back again. And it's these small little mistakes are keeping me from the win, but I'm going to get it next week, hopefully.
Speaking of next week, kind of Bristol on steroids going to Dover, I take it you feel pretty strong just like this racetrack?
Yeah, I have. I may not be the fastest guy that's out there racing, but I would say I'm pretty much one of the most consistent. And so I just have the ability to settle in, consistent lap times. Don't burn up your tires, and I'm a lot better on the long runs. I'm not quick off the start, but long hauls. So, if we can get some green flags, that's normally where I shine. So I'm hoping that's what we get next week.
Well, Jake, thanks for coming out and racing with us. Is there anybody you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, absolutely. Smart Avenue Realty. It's my real estate brokerage here in the Des Moines, Iowa area. Mike Browning for the awesome paint job, the Black Sheep scheme that we're running. And then obviously, our main sponsors, we got Nazareth 360, V-Speed, Makoni for the setup this evening. Jam Printing Promotions, get some cool, sick, gear that's sent to us, being a part of the league, which is great. InVets, Veterans for Life Racing, Veterans for Life Foundation. Nasty's Restaurant for all the hosting and everything that they do for the vets and get to watch us every once in a while. And then Cruising Classics with their, gotta watch my language, with their awesome cars. And then Hidden Wit Brewery and Lincoln Tech.
That was Jake Ham driving the number 87 truck, finishing in third place. And Alec, I'm going to bring you back in here kind of for our closing thoughts. We've had 5 different races to open up, and we've seen 5 different winners so far. You couldn't ask for a better script to start the season.
No, you could not. You definitely couldn't. I mean, 5 different winners in 5 different races. That's very hard to do, and it shows to the competitiveness of Goat Locker and how these guys are just attacking every week. It seems like somebody new and comes in and they're fast and they can win. And Dover, I think, definitely possible. We could have a new winner as well. Dover's always can be crazy. It's fast and it's going to chew up tires. I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens next weekend, seeing if we could go 6 for 6 on the season, which would be pretty wild. I know Eddie was telling me that we had, I think, 7 or 8 different winners here last year, and we might just tie that up in the first 8 races. How about that?
If you want to catch that race from Dover, it will be 1 week from today, Friday, October 11th, same exact time right here on the V-Speed YouTube channel. That is 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 7:30 p.m. Central. You can also catch it on the Goat Locker Racing Facebook page. And for Patrick Drabick, Jamie Barkis, and everyone at Goat Locker Racing, Adam Baker and Bradley Cooper at V-Speed, and of course our producer Eddie Smith, my colleague Alec Martinez here in the booth. My name is Joey Atterbury. Thank you for watching tonight's broadcast, and I'll see you at the checkered flag.